What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. This is some huge news that just came down for the Carolina Panthers. Now, y'all know I haven't made a video in a long time now, so first of all, Happy New Year, Happy New Decade, and Happy New Beginnings for this Carolina Panthers football team. We have just signed our new head coach, Matt Rhule, who's been the coach on the college level for Temple. He was the coach of Baylor for the last 3 years. And this dude right here, Matt Rhule, is a very interesting hire for this team, for David Tepper. A lot of connections here, but I actually find this to be a very, I don't know if it's a splash kind of hiring here. Matt Rhule was a guy who was liked by a couple of other teams, like the Giants, for very obvious reasons that I'll get to here in a second. But he wasn't really a guy who a lot of other teams were really fiending to try to get. He wasn't like a splash like a Urban Meyer or Lincoln Riley or these other guys like Bieniemy, maybe even Josh McDaniels, who would have been a huge mistake. The dude for the Vikings. There's a lot of guys who are out there right now who there are a lot more teams looking at them, but I really do like Matt Rhule a lot for several reasons. First off, I can understand why this dude was hired by David Tepper. The guy moved to Pennsylvania as a high schooler. He played high school football. He went to Penn State. And you know that David Tepper was pretty much born and raised, grew up, came up in Pennsylvania. So there's that connection there with the area they grew up in, the area they came up in. Temple is also in Pennsylvania. So, you know, that kind of connection there does make a little bit of sense. But it's not just that. This guy, Matt Rhule, literally wherever he goes, has a huge impact on the team, the culture, and a football program as a whole wherever he goes. Progress and improvement always follows this guy, Matt Rhule, and that's a very huge thing. A huge thing to consider when you're looking at how this Panthers team is going to be set up for next year. You know, we have to decide between, are we going to keep Mario Addison? Are we going to have James Bradbury? What's Cam looking like? How's this O-line going to look for next year? I mean, Christian McCaffrey, what's going to happen with him? There's a lot of things going on here. Greg Olsen as well. And I'm going to have a few videos coming up very soon talking about Christian McCaffrey, talking about Greg Olsen's future, and even Cam. Cam had a very mysterious, cryptic kind of IG story a couple of days ago that made you kind of scratch your head and think to yourself, hold up, what exactly is Cam talking about? He's hinting at something, but I don't know exactly what it is. I'll get to that here in maybe the next couple of days, maybe even later on tonight. But focusing here on our new head coach, Matt Rhule, everywhere he's gone, there's been progress. Let's start at Temple. He was there for 4 years. His first year there, he had a record of 2-10. Second year, he was 6-6. And then his third and fourth year, he went 10-4 and 10-3. The first back-to-back 10-win seasons for that program. The dude came in for a Temple team that really no one had much respect for, had much use for. No one cared about Temple football. And one year, they went out and beat his alma mater, Penn State, who was a powerhouse, a total powerhouse school at that time. And then he got the job at Baylor after Art Briles was basically ousted as the coach over there. Look, I don't want to spend too much time going really deep into what happened at Baylor. I think we all understand, we all know if you follow football, what was going on at Baylor for like, 7-8 years. That school had a huge culture problem. The coaches knew about it. Title IX knew about it. Everybody, the president, the school knew about what was going on with the sexual harassment, sexual assault. There's a lot of things going on there. If you want to find out about all that kind of stuff, you can look it up yourself. I don't really feel like going that deep into it. It's kind of depressing. It's very depressing. It was not a really good situation for the students, for the staff, for the football players. It was a huge deal. And this man, Matt Rhule, got put into a situation that it was horrible. He went 1-11 his first season there right after all that stuff happened. A lot of guys left, including Jarrett Stidham, who's now the backup quarterback for the Patriots. Point is, he went 1-11 his first year there, turned around, went 7-6 his next season there, and just this past year, he went 11-3. In 3 years, he turned basically a blacklisted school that no one really wanted to go to, turned around from 1-11 to 11-3. How does that happen? Matt Rhule is a guy who comes in, changes your culture, gets guys to work hard, and works really well with lesser talent. He knows, look, at Temple, obviously, you're not getting the best talent. You're not going to get the best talent. You're not playing against the best talent, but still, you're on the same kind of level. So to go from 2-10 to 10-3 and 10-4 is really impressive. But to be in the Big 12 at Baylor, which isn't really the best school in the Big 12, and we know the Big 12 does not really play that great a defense. But, having a Baylor team go from 1-11 to 11-3 in a 2-3 year span is huge, especially considering the situation that he inherited going to Baylor. This guy has been a huge godsend wherever he goes. And like I was hinting at the top of this video, that was definitely one of the biggest selling points for this guy, for the Panthers and the Giants as well. These are two teams that are going to have a turnaround with not so great talent at certain parts of the field. Defense, especially for us, I guess, and the Giants as well. But there are parts of the O-line that ain't all that great. There's a question mark about Cam. We want him to come back healthy. We think he'll be back healthy, but we're not 100% sure. Matt Rhule, as a coach, has always done a lot more than expected with lesser talent. And we also have to figure out, hold up, this isn't just a college guy who has no experience in the NFL. This is a dude who, although he only has 1 year in the NFL, and we all hear about, Matt Rhule, he had 1 year as an O-line coach for the Giants, so he has a little bit of NFL. He has some experience there, but people just stop right there and don't explain any further about what Matt Rhule did in his 1 year in the NFL. His 1 year in the NFL as an O-line coach for the Giants was in 2012. Now, a couple things happened in 2012 for the Giants. This was a Giants team that won the Super Bowl, right? So this is the guy who not only has 1 year experience in the NFL, he has 1 year experience and then got a Super Bowl. Now, say what you want to about that Giants Super Bowl. You can talk about how it was lucky. Eli didn't really deserve it. It was on the back of the defense. Say what you want to about that 2012 Super Bowl run for the Giants, but you can't say that Matt Rhule did not have a huge part in that season. Because in 2012, the Giants team only allowed a total of 20 sacks the whole year. And that was the best in the whole league in 2012. So Matt Rhule, as an O-line coach, had the best O-line statistically in the whole league. So it wasn't like he was on for a nice little ride like a lot of people on that Giants team. Matt Rhule had a huge impact on that Giants run in the regular season and then moving on to the postseason. So when you talk about Matt Rhule only having 1 year of NFL experience as a coach, and he was just a positional coach, an O-line coach, you gotta respect exactly what he did because he had a big role. When you have Eli Manning as your quarterback, you need to have some damn good protection, and that's what this man really did for him. Only 20 sacks throughout the whole regular season, best in the league. That is a huge, huge advantage, especially for, hey, y'all seen what this O-line for Carolina looking like? Now, this man hasn't called an offense in a while now, but damn. We know what we got on the O-line here in Carolina. We could use any kind of experience it takes at all. Please, come in here, teach someone something about making a guy on the defense not hit the guy who's throwing the ball wearing black and blue. Anyone. I don't care what you're doing. Tell someone the right way to stop a guy on the defensive line from getting to the backfield. Please. We're looking at a guy who comes in, makes big things happen, but what is his scheme? What does Matt Rhule do? What does he like to see happening? Well, in an interview that he did just before this past season, when he turned around the Baylor Bears from being 1-11 to 7-6, this was in June of 2019, he said he would rather run a smash mouth offense if he was in charge, but when you're in the college ranks and you're in the Big 12, you have to run the RPO. He said he'd rather run a 22 personnel where it's 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and you just pound the ball, pound the rock every down, have a committee of guys, have the quarterback run, have the running back run, and even have receivers that run. But, when you're in college, Big 12, you have to spread it out. You have to have the RPO working for you, and you have to do different things. But he has a really kind of interesting philosophy. He says he likes to run the quarterback sneak on 2nd and short. He talked about how 3rd down efficiency is an overrated stat. And he said the best way to get first downs is to never touch 3rd down. He wants to get it on 2nd down. Talks about how he was even willing to go for it on 4th downs more often than other people. Talks about how he wants to spread the ball around, have some quick things happen. And I'll link this interview, this article in the description below because it's very, very interesting. This is before he had this really good season just this past year. He says that football adversity builds football character, and he'd rather have guys who have football character than football skill. You can have all the speed, all the attributes you really want to, But if you have a guy who really wants it, a guy who's motivated, and a guy who's been through the trenches on the football field, you'd rather have him because he knows he's going to work hard every single down. And we've seen the last few years, some of these bigger name dudes not really have all that great of seasons because they ain't really built for it mentally. There's a couple guys out there like that. So with all that being said, I think Matt Rhule was the perfect hire to be the next head coach for the Panthers. He isn't the splashes. He isn't the most exciting. He isn't the guy who's going to get us to become a playoff team, a Super Bowl contending team right off the bat in 1 year, maybe not even the next 2 years. But he is the perfect guy to come into a situation, turn a culture around, make things right, build a culture, build a system where guys will actually be willing to work hard. Guys will play above what they would probably normally play under a different guy. Get a team and a program back on track and then move on to the next place where he's needed. He's kind of like the Mary Poppins of the football world. If you kind of think about it, he finds places that ain't doing so good, turns them around, goes to the next place, turns them around. And that's exactly what this Carolina Panthers team needs at this moment. So I see him as a guy who won't be here for the next decade, the next 15 years. He'll be here for the next 3 or 4 years, get us right, get us on the right track. We'll go 9-7, 11-5 in 3-4 years. Give him a quick little handshake. Tell him thank you for your services. And then we'll find our real coach of the future who can take a team that actually is built. We have to build the team through the draft and build through free agency because there's going to be a lot of holes to be filled over the next 2-3 years. So, Matt Rhule, perfect guy for the situation, but don't exactly expect to become Super Bowl contenders this year or even next year. That's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on Matt Rhule? Thoughts on him being the head coach? Should he be the guy? Is he the guy? Who did you want? Thoughts on his scheme? Thoughts on his history? What do you expect out of Matt Rhule and this Panthers team next year and in the next 4 or 5 years? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.